Hello my friends and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Let's Play part 202 of this series. So I just want to let you know I'm not going to be talking about a lot of the video stuff here. I'm going to let it be more of a background say because there's some important stuff that I want to get through and it might take a while, so I'm also making sure that I have a little bit more time to speak to, which is also why the video is a bit longer. But today, for video purposes, I'm going, besides going through the news, I also turn up the volume a little bit. I decided, in the Duel trial with the Skull Invitation, I decided to use Snake Eye Fire King. And at first I thought like maybe I could survive through only one by getting rid of my own as quickly as possible with the Snake Eyes cards that can do that. But then I was thinking like, maybe it's better to try to get rid of both. Either that or try to win maybe a little bit faster before the Skull, before even just one of the Skull Invitations overtake me. So yeah. But yeah, other ways you can go about the Duel trial are with some deck that can do a lot of banishing instead. So that, because like Skull Invitation only counts against you when cards hit the graveyard. Maybe if you have ways of destroying a lot of your opponent's stuff without putting a lot of your own stuff in the graveyard, that's a good way to do it as well, perhaps. Floowandereeze could probably be a really good deck, and I think I still have a lot of the Floowandereeze cards, perhaps, so maybe I could have done that, but I decided just to make it easy and just do Snake Eye. That's probably the one that I'm doing the whole way through. I didn't get to the pack this time, but I'll just get to the pack next time. So now that I'm done with all the beginning stuff, oh yeah, I would also like to say please like, share, and subscribe if you are enjoying my content. And be sure to ring that notification bell so you can be notified. I'm starting to put even like more stuff at the end, so I hope you're really enjoying that, and I hope it's not getting in the way too much. I didn't do it for every video because it's going to be quite a bit. Maybe I will in the past, but I mean I have a lot of videos, so I might just stick with like the 30 I got now, the past 30, and then like just do it from now on. Once again, I figure out how I can just download. Oh yeah, and I also did the Duel live there for the mission. Anyway, yeah. So now that I figure out how to do the end screen thing, maybe I can make it look a little more professional later on. But for now, I'm just fitting it in wherever. What's nice is that the whole Share Factory logo at the end of a lot of my videos means it shouldn't get in the way too much unless I for some reason don't have something like that. Yeah. Oh wait, and maybe it's for the last 29 because one of my videos I kind of had to re-upload because I wanted to cut out a little bit where it was one of my streams that cut off, and apparently a lot of that was still showing, so I decided you can't see anything, but you can still hear hear stuff. But what's the point if you can't see anything? So hopefully, and then if the music is overpowering, I can always turn it down. But I figure like, man, it's so low, I kind of have to go a little bit more drastic now. And I'm showing just the pack that you get for your 3 victories, which I'll open later on. I'll just like add that into a future video. But anyway, I should probably get into the main meat that I wanted to say. So anyway, so before I do the verse and the Goosebumps, I want to say, I want to ask you guys, and also like this is linking into my little speech. Have you ever went to a local, like a new sort of like locals that's maybe not your closest locals, but it's still fairly close to you? Maybe you have 2 different ones, and maybe like the one that's a little bit farther looks flashy, but you just eventually can't help but thinking that maybe the new locals may be a bit of a mistake. Maybe that was a little bit of a mistake because it's taking your mind too much off of the closer locals. Or I guess like pretty much anywhere you hang out. It doesn't have to be like a trading card locals thing. It can be pretty much like anything you hang out with. Maybe it could be like a D&D group or something. It can be really anything. But so maybe the farther one, it maybe like gets a little bit more attention. It's a little bit more popular. But you just can't help but thinking and maybe feeling bad eventually that like you kind of ditch your old locals a little too much, because like that's where like all of your main memories are at. Maybe not all of them good, but you just like any like good relationship, you take the good with the bad. So that's basically where my story that I want to talk about, my speech, kind of starts up, which is why I brought that up. So I want to say that I was in that situation, but for me it was with two different trading card locals, and both of these locals does a lot of different card games. Maybe like one focuses a lot more on Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe the other one focuses a lot more on Magic, but they still, I think, have a little bit of in common. And maybe like the closer locals is maybe trying to do more with different card games as well now, and I should really give it another chance. I'm not just saying that because the other locals I went to, I'm kind of getting. It's not just because like of anything that I did. Although I did, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I kind of got fed up with it one day. Fed up with a certain thing, and maybe just fed up with the locals themselves. But maybe that was because there was a portion of me that was feeling bad that, this other locals, like, that's more my home, and maybe I was getting a little bit of homesick. Maybe that was it. So, eventually that culminated into some big stuff, but don't want to go into too much detail. And I hope you guys can respect the times where I don't want to go into too much detail. And I hope you guys can also respect the way I am as a YouTuber. I like to tell you the truth, be honest. If there's anything you don't like about me being a YouTuber, maybe you can let me know. But probably most of the time, I'm probably not going to want to change, because I kind of like the way I am, and I don't want to have to like change too drastically. And if there's ever anybody who doesn't like it, maybe you can let me know. And if I still refuse to change, then that's fine. If you want to unsubscribe because that's fine. Like, because I would rather have my true friends stick around rather than rather than trying to be cool with a group that just doesn't understand me. So anyway, moving on along with my story. So my old locals, I'm just gonna call it my old locals, and my new locals is the one that maybe like trying to spend a little bit less time with now. So anyway, my old locals, that's the place where like a lot of my best memories came from. Like, of course, not all the good memories are there, but there's a lot of good memories. And of course, like, again, like, you take the good with the bad, just like any other true friendship. You gotta take the good with the bad. Especially when you're a Christian, you want to take the good with the bad. So it works out in any case. So anyway, so the local scene for my old locals, it's basically where I met the person who's still sticking by my side while the other friends have either gone too busy, or maybe they just don't want to hang out with me. And I've been in some fake relationships, I would say, some real relationships, and I would say like this new person I'm starting to spend a lot more time with, because we figured out a good plan for how we can meet up with each other. I think this is probably one of the more real relationships, more real friendships, if you can call it that. And he's the reason that I started, it's not really a YouTube career, but maybe one day it can be, but he's the reason why I'm still continuing to do these YouTube videos, despite if I don't have a lot of subscribers. He's the reason for that. He's also basically the leader of the high tip group. He's what inspired me to help work on that, so I can help him out there as well. He's also done some nice things for me, either financial wise, maybe not so financial wise, just stuff, etc., etc. So yeah, so it's not just that though. There was also another subsidiary. I'm not sure how much memories I have with the subsidiary locals. That was kind of that what they were before they became this new locals. I think that might have been a little bit farther though. So now they got even closer technically. But anyway, so. But I think most of the good memories probably happen at this new location here. Not the one that I'm kind of trying to get away with, but their new location that like is still with my old locals. Yes, but I don't want to give out the name because I don't want to give out too many details. I don't want to give out too much away. But anyway, so yeah. It's also, I believe, the place where I almost got... I did pretty well with Manifest deck. I mean, I did pretty well at some other locals with some other decks too, but I think my Manifest and the Frogs, it may have been my favorite decks, to be honest. Although the Sprite Frog deck back when, like, the Ronin Totem was still available for the physical TCG was pretty fun, but I think still my favorite decks are probably the Paleozoic Frogs and the Metaphys. Maybe more the Paleozoic Frogs, but still, like, they were both pretty good. And I would have, and it was also, I think, the place where I would have actually been able to have a win if I would have known that Imperial Order can go away. If my opponent can't pay for the cost. I thought it was going to kill them, but it turns out it didn't. But that was the only loss I got. I may have won the whole tournament had it not been for that. Though maybe there was some things in play that would have made it so that I didn't win. But it was a pretty good chance, since that would have made me undefeated had I won that game as well. Match as well, basically. That was like... basically the deciding factor right there. But yeah, the way I got the win, or got like top 8 with the Metaphys deck in that locals was actually kind of funny. I still remember where I was basically playing Soul Absorption. I know it's such a bad card because it just gives you extra life points, but I actually was able to win, taking advantage of how the old time rules were even. So maybe it made it even a little bit harder, but my opponent was just not able to inflict enough before I grew too high in life points, like a lot of my opponents. And I think that happened multiple times too, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, there was another good story right there. And maybe I just didn't have as many good stories. Maybe I could have given more time, but I don't know. I should probably give another chance to my old locals, because I feel like I was ditching them a little too much. And maybe the events that played out at the new locals, which again I don't want to go into too much details, kind of maybe made me think about how maybe I was ditching this old locals a little too much, because I was looking too much at the flashiness of the new local, and I was looking at too much, it was too flashy, And I don't know, maybe the old locals is also more my speed. Like, they don't have nearly as many workers there, so like maybe like there won't be as much, like, as many people. Like, I was kind of also getting kind of annoyed with like the fact that like all of the workers were trying to get your attention, and it's kind of annoying. Like, I'm trying to think, like, I don't want to buy anything, man. Like, it seems like every day, like, they were just like trying to like push products down your throat. Like, you walk to the counter, and immediately they think, oh, he's at the counter, must want to buy something, must want to look at one of our binders. And it just didn't seem that way at my old locals. Maybe I just didn't notice that, but it really didn't seem that way. Maybe it's a little different now, but I think that was even a little bit better too. Maybe other people can understand that, maybe not, but that's just my thinking. Anyway, so basically, here's another thing I want to say. Now that I'm all past my little speech and story, I also want to say that, yes, I am sorry to this new local. Sorry, like, if we got off on the wrong foot for maybe a problem that wasn't exactly their fault, but maybe I kind of made it their fault. Wasn't really trying to. And to any specific people, also sorry to them if it got if it went too far because of it. Again, I don't want to go into any specifics. Just simply want to say I was sorry too. I'm sorry to any parties involved. So there you go. There's my apology. I'm sure that if Jesus meant for the people that the responsible parties, if he means for them to see it, they're gonna see it somehow. They're gonna see this somehow. But I just wanted to try to get that off my chest in front of maybe at least some people who I know do watch my videos, so that it's not just kept inside. Sometimes I don't mind if it's just more private, but I felt like it was important to have a speech like this too. I wanted to also get this speech out here too, because maybe some other people feel the same way, and also because maybe my friend can also see this video and see what I did. Maybe that can help get him, if he wants to change his mind on anything. I wanted to also give that option too. So anyway, there's that. Of course, I understand that some people might think this is kind of a coward's way to apologize, and sure, maybe, but this is kind of the stuff I like to do. So again, if anyone doesn't want, if there's people who don't want to accept that, it's up to them. If there's people who want to unsubscribe because they think I'm going about things the wrong way, sure, you can unsubscribe. I'm not forcing you to stay here. But if there's people who can't understand my feelings, then feel free to stay subscribed. Feel free to invite your friends to subscribe to me too, who maybe can feel the same way. And there's some other things I want to bring up as well before I move on to the verse. It's only 20 minutes in. Maybe I could have made this video a little bit shorter, but I just want to give myself as much time with the speech because I felt like that was important. I feel like this other kind of speech is important as well. There's like kind of another speech I want to go into. Maybe I could take a little bit of a break and commentate on this duel before going into that, to give you time to think about my first speech, and then maybe you can like say stuff in the comments if there's anything specific you want to say. Maybe you could even share your own life stories that maybe are related. Maybe they don't have to be related, but if you want prayer, as always, if you want prayer requests, if you want it to lead up to some kind of prayer request, that's fine. And if anyone wants to pray for me, then that's fine too. And maybe if you want a little bit more details, and you promise, I don't want to share too much with people that I don't know. I'm sorry if that offends you, but I just don't really feel comfortable with that about strangers. I don't even know if I'm gonna share a whole bunch of details with the high tier group. So yeah, so I feel like please don't ask about stuff like that, but just know, yeah, I did do some stuff in the new locals that I did regret. I'll say that, and that's exactly why I did the apology thing. It may have been obvious because I did the apology, but in case it wasn't, maybe now it's a little bit more clear. But anyway, feel free to ask questions, and I can let you know if I'm happy with answering, or if I'm not happy with answering. But just know that if I am happy with answering, I'll try to be open, and I'll try to also be honest, because I don't really want to be unreal. That may be a good strategy to get subscribers quickly, but I don't feel like that's a good way to stay to keep your subscribers. I feel like eventually it'll be revealed anyway, and it's just not a good thing for a Christian to be anyway. And here's that skull invitation ended up killing me. See, that's why I was thinking maybe I should have gone with that skull invitation. Okay, but now that's a new duel. I'm gonna get into this other speech now. So this one maybe is less maybe it's a little bit more upbeat. So sorry to get you really down with that first one, but I wanted to get it out there. This one, I still want to be real, but maybe it's just more general advice, I think. Okay, here's something that happened. Here's another story. This is about a Netflix series that's coming out. It's called Exploding Kittens. And at first, it looked good. I thought it would be cool. I thought it was good. It looked like there wouldn't be any foul language, based on the fact that when I looked it up on Netflix, it didn't say it was MA for foul language specifically. So I felt like maybe there won't be. But then I saw the ad. This might have been after I saw the ad, or maybe before, I forget. But either way, it's based off of the ad. The ad, I eventually realized as I was talking with a few of my family members, and now I'm thinking about, I should probably call it out too, because I don't want anyone, any of my other people who are trying to get more into Christianity here, more into living like Jesus here, to get tripped up. So I just want to say this because I care about you guys, and I have my problems, and I'm sure you have yours, and they're just stuff that maybe avoiding can help with maybe being able to slowly change. Because we all want to change, whether we think so or not. Maybe it doesn't have to be in really big ways, but we all want to get better in the whole Jesus relationship. Anyway, the Exploring Kittens ad on Netflix. There's some shows that I can deal with, but this show, it's blatantly obvious that, yeah, this show, it's a total rip on Christianity. It's so clear. And maybe that's also how the game is too. So maybe I shouldn't get the game either. I was thinking maybe the game would be good because it doesn't seem that difficult to play. But if that's how it is, maybe I shouldn't get the game either. So basically the ad, yeah. So the ad, it's blatantly clear. It might be like The Good Place too. The Good Place might be another one that's blatantly trying to mock Christianity, because like Jesus ending up in the body of a cat, especially like if it's like a show that's called Exploding Kittens like that. I mean, maybe it's enough that he ends up in the body of a cat, but clearly they're gonna do even worse stuff with that, probably. And I guess I can see what Plugged In has to say about that eventually. And maybe if somehow they find some good things to say, maybe I could give it another chance. But for now, it just doesn't look great, because it just seems like a complete mockery. Like every episode, just pretty much just going to be a complete rip, a complete mockery for Christianity. And I just don't think I can watch a show like that. And if you guys are with me, and if you guys really want to be the kind of Christians that I want you to be, going through these verses and everything, and I also urge any friends of also the same, please join me in boycotting the show, at least until I can get a better read on it. I'll keep you updated on what Plugged In has to say about it too, as well. But if there's a lot of F words, I wouldn't watch it either. I was thinking maybe like that was kind of ridiculous to place that many boundaries, but maybe it is a good thing too. But at the very least, like just for the fact that maybe if it's a complete mockery on Christianity, I'm not gonna ask of anything else. So if there's like, if nothing else, like maybe those are the kind of shows and movies you want to avoid, and maybe I should try harder to avoid stuff like that in the future as well. If I ever like see the ads, because I think I was meant to see this ad. I saw it for a reason, and yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame for me too, because I was kind of looking forward to it. I thought the explosions would be kind of cool, but I don't know. So here, I'm just trying to get rid of the skull invitation. So I kind of just went about it the wrong way. Yeah, I mean, I got rid of the Fire King's Skyburn early, but I thought it was worth it. Anyway, yeah, more about, I think that's pretty much good. And here, if you're planning to join me in the boycott of Exploding Kittens, feel free, as a little bit of an sort of like secret society, secret club sort of thing. I guess we could call ourselves the boycott. Actually, no. I feel like it should be obvious. I think it should be obvious. So let's just make it clear. So anyone who wants to join me in this boycott, feel free to post down, and maybe I'll have another comment for this. I just won't have it pinned because that always goes to the whole like verse discussion thing. But maybe I could have another comment where that says why I saw it up, at least for this video, and then for other videos, maybe other people could saw it up next time. It will be called hashtag boycott hashtag boycott exploding Kittens. That doesn't necessarily have to go for the game, because you're probably not getting as much lore out just from the game itself. At least the show. So I'll just say hashtag boycott exploding Kittens. And then anyone who wants to join me, you can either like that comment or reply to it with your own hashtag boycott exploding Kittens, depending on whether or not you want to remain anonymous. I guess I can understand it either way. It's fine. At least you'll be joining me, even if you just simply like it. You can even do both if you want to. And feel free to say that you're one of the likes. Anyway, hopefully I get some replies to that. Anyway, now that we're moved past that, now anything that I want to say about the duel real quick before I move on to the verse? I guess so. It's kind of funny that the win I ended up getting, as you'll see, wasn't even one of the ones where I ended up destroying both of the Fire King Skyburn. And I guess if you can't always really search for the Fire King Skyburn, because your priority pretty much has to be the island or the sanctuary to get you to the island. So if you don't get the island or the sanctuary to get to the island, I mean, I guess you have to give up. Well, I guess you could also run stuff like Death Tornado as another way to get rid of both. But yeah, you might not always be able to store it, so maybe your best, maybe if you're like better at playing this, like you can like, as long as you get rid of Yon, like you can still like send quite a bit to the graveyard before you technically do risk losing because of it. You can at least set up your negate board, as you saw in the first duel, without really risking it too much. As long as you get rid of Yon fairly quickly. I suppose it does help set up more boards, like, because there's less likely to break when you do have a guaranteed face-up card to send with one of the snake guys. Yeah, so, but yeah, maybe if you're a little bit better, you don't necessarily need to waste a Fire King Skyburn to get rid of the opponents as well. Or maybe if you don't even get the Skyburn, you can eventually figure it out. But, I mean, I guess if you can't really figure out a way, if you're a little bit too scared, I guess what you could do is you could just concede until you eventually already have like the either the sanctuary or the island in hand, and then you can definitely search for the Skyburn so you can try to get rid of the opposing Skull Invitation as soon as possible. Or you could just play more removal like MST, Hoppy's Feather Duster. Yeah. Or what you could do is maybe like you don't get the Yaksha, but instead you send out the Karen, and that's another way without necessarily needing the Skyburn to get rid of the Skull Invitation. That may have been something I did in the third duel, actually. Maybe I did end up getting rid of that Skull Invitation, but I don't know if I did till the very end, if so. But yeah, here, like, this was kind of just a very sad loss here, as you can see. But since I think you can, I think it's a good time to move on to talking about the verse a little bit. So the verse for today is going to be 2 Corinthians 3:17. So as always, first I'm going to go through the U version, and then this time I'll go through the New International Version translation. So first the U version translation. Now the Lord, or I'm not sure if they borrow the image or if it's their official image, but since I'm getting off of U version, that's just what I'm going to call it. Anyway, it's it says, now the Lord is a spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Again, that's 2 Corinthians 3:17. And then for a New International Version, now the Lord is a spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Pretty close in similarity this time. 2 Corinthians 3:17, New International Version. Here's the duel where I actually win, by the way. For anyone curious. And I think this was the first duel where I actually went second also. So I guess it kind of goes to maybe like show you what you can do if going second. Anyway, so what does this verse say to me? So let's go through it in parts. Now the Lord is the Spirit. So what that says to me is that now the Lord is the Spirit. Okay. Okay. Now the Lord is okay. So, okay. Just want to give myself a little bit to think about that. So, anyway, back on track. Now the Lord is the Spirit. What that says to me is that, so what is Spirit is in this sense of the word. So Spirit basically saying where it's not really a physical body, maybe not exactly a ghostly form, but like not really a solid form. Not exactly a solid form, and yet he also is. He's both a solid form and not a solid form at the same time. It gets kind of crazy, but like he's the Trinity. So he's all man, he's all spirit, he's all. They do call him the Holy Ghost too. So I guess it could also be sort of ghostly as well, ghostly form. So maybe calling him a ghost, maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you want to call him sort of a ghost. So I guess there's proof that ghosts do technically exist. Because Jesus exists, he still exists, and he is also a Holy Ghost. So yeah, so I think I did a pretty good job on that bit. So now it's saying where the Spirit of the Lord is, so where his ghostly form is, but also not a solid form as well, there's freedom. And even though it doesn't feel like you see a solid form of Jesus, like the solid form of Jesus can simply be the people that are near you as well. It can just be like a representation. Doesn't necessarily have to be like literal. It can also just be like a representation. And I think sometimes I get mixed up with these verses. Sometimes I feel it's easy to get mixed up with these verses. A little off topic, I know, but I also want to bring this up because sometimes I do worry about stuff, but I think in the end, you just have to trust. You have to trust that you're doing the right thing, and maybe trust that maybe there can be change somehow. And trust that, like, if there isn't, maybe it's for the best. Maybe there's a reason why there isn't. And maybe you can still go to, maybe you can still find peace. Maybe, like, let's just say find heaven, even without maybe necessarily the change. Like, if maybe just trust that, like, if it's not needed and you really do feel like you really do like Jesus, like, just trust, I would say, if that he's gonna lead you on the right path. no matter what. I think that's basically what you need to do. So there's freedom. So yeah, freedom there. So maybe that does have to do with the verse in a way. And this is actually a pretty good verse for today, because like July 4th is kind of just a day of freedom as well. And maybe while that is more about worldly freedom, this is about a better kind of freedom, a lasting kind of freedom. And both have to deal with trust. But at least with this trust, you get to trust in something that's lasting longer, that can't go away. And I would just say, don't try to not get tied up too much in the ways of the world or in your own thoughts. Try to keep that lasting freedom, however you can. And when you need to, count on Jesus to help you out there. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the verse. If you would like to, you can feel free to leave your own thoughts down in the comments or message me on Facebook. And if you want to join the high table group, maybe you can come in and discuss it there. I'll try to get back to you there as well. I occasionally go to the high table group. Of course, I have to access the high table group every time I post a new video anyway, so I eventually will see it, even if it's not right away. Just know that I eventually will see it. Anyway, I guess it's time to move on to the Goosebumps, but maybe before that, anything about, yeah, see, the skull invitation's still there. So this is the one where I kind of take a little bit to get rid of that skull invitation if I get rid of it at any point. And of course, it's a little bit late when I realized that I could have just gone to Dock and stole the monster that I just destroyed. Decided to destroy that instead of the skull invitation to maybe get him for a bit more damage. I could have just stolen it with the Dock. I wonder if I would have been able to get game had I done that, but oh well. I probably would have, but I wasn't thinking about that. It was a little too late. I already went into battle, couldn't back out of it. At least I still got a game eventually anyway. At least I still got a win eventually anyway here. And I'm not too worried, even if I didn't get all 3 wins with this day, because it doesn't end until, I think it's Saturday. Like, as long as you watch this, not too late. But if you do, like, basically that's the 6th, I think. I believe that's when it ends, on the 6th. I think at least for me, 20:59, so that's Arizona time. It might be a little bit different for you guys, depending on your time zone. But anyway, let's get into the book now before we run out of time here. So today's book is, fortunately, it's just a one-parter once again. But next week's will be a kind of a big one. Hopefully I won't run out of time there. I might have to get started a little bit earlier with the book next week, but luckily I won't have as much to talk about, so I should be able to, as long as I get to the Monster Blood at a good time, because that'll be a 3-parter. But this time it's only a 1-parter. But I think this one might be one of my favorites. It's Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and the book was even better, I would say. I really liked that the book went into a lot more detail, although that may have been to its fault as well, because that just means he had more time to fix it, and yet he still waited until the last possible minute before he did, which maybe makes him look a little more dumb. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I guess that's kind of funny. So, I guess you can either maybe take it as good or bad. I should probably place the infinite permanence with the trap, because I was thinking they were just gonna activate the spell before putting down a monster. So at least if I would have put in the position with the trap, I would have been able to stop the trap before they could use it, because they need a monster in order to be able to use a trap, but they don't need a monster for the spell, and that's exactly what they did. Anyway, still about the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Yeah, so the main character, I mean, basically, I didn't realize it was a whole year they kicked down, but like, he did remove a whole year, and that was even in the show. So I wonder if there was any important events that year. Maybe someone can let me know what getting rid of the year, I think it was 1988, like what else that means for the world. I mean, I guess any like important event could have just happened a year later. That could have maybe meant that. But like, maybe if anyone thinks of like any important people that were actually born that year, like maybe like hypothesizing on how it would like change the world in years to come, that could be a pretty interesting discussion if someone wants to start that. But anyway, I just like the bit where he went back in time. Thought that was pretty cool. It was cool to see more of his life though, more of his past events. And I felt like that did make it so that like you could really feel for his pain with his mean sister even more, because you saw even more reasons why he doesn't like her. So maybe it's more justified. I mean, I still don't know like how justified it is to get rid of her entirely, and maybe like wonder if he should go back for her or not. Like, man, like that's a pretty cruel fate. Like, for anyone to be in, just erase entirely. Of course, it's all science fiction, but still, like, I don't think, like, even as a Christian, it's too bad to think about. I don't know. But I'm more into Goosebumps for the entertainment value anyway. And I know how to keep the reality straight anyway. But, I mean, there are times when, like, it just gets to be too much, like, with the Exploding Kittens. But anyway, that's what I want to say about the verse there. Since I have a minute left, I think time to stop talking about that. But I guess I need to say which one I liked more. I thought they were both pretty good, but maybe the show gets it this time. Even though it was really cool seeing more of his events, with the fact that like he was going back in time even quicker, it makes more sense why it was in such a rush. Like, felt like he was taking like he had plenty of time. Like he should have had less time. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you're not too upset that I don't show the pack opening in this part, but in a future video I will. Anyway, if you enjoyed and want to help me out a bit more before I get to you can use my affiliate links as a way to help me out.